I never thought I'd be mediating a peace treaty between the Glorthoks and the Xentarians. It was like trying to negotiate a truce between two hungry dogs with a single sausage. Our ship, the U.S.S. Serenity, was the neutral ground, and I was the unfortunate diplomat assigned to keep the peace. My name is Captain Ben Carter, and let me tell you, space diplomacy is a joke. The Glorthoks are 8-foot-tall reptilian warriors with tempers hotter than a supernova. The Xentarians, on the other hand, are tiny, squishy, and impossibly polite, but their penchant for passive aggressiveness could make a Vulcan cry. We were all seated around a table in the main conference room. The tension was thick enough to cut with a laser scalpel. On my left, the Glortok ambassador, Raktar, glared at me like I was a particularly annoying insect. On my right, Xentarian envoy Plink fidgeted nervously, his many eyes blinking in a rapid, unsettling pattern. "So," I said, plastering on my best diplomatic smile, "how about we start with some introductions and a few words about your respective cultures?" Raktar snorted, a plume of smoke curling from his nostrils. "We are Glortoks. We conquer, we dominate, we—" "Yes, very impressive," Plink interrupted, his voice dripping with faux admiration. "We Xentarians prefer a more refined approach. We value intellect, strategy, and—" "Enough!" Raktar roared, slamming his fist on the table. The whole ship shook and I felt my smile falter. "Right," I said, trying to regain control. "How about we discuss the territory dispute?" Both aliens started talking at once, their voices a discordant symphony of anger and frustration. I pinched the bridge of my nose, feeling a headache coming on. It was going to be a long day. After hours of fruitless negotiations, I decided we needed a break. I led Raktar and Plink to the recreation deck, hoping a bit of relaxation might cool their tempers. The deck had everything: zero-gravity basketball, a virtual reality arena, and even an intergalactic bar with drinks strong enough to knock out an elephant. Raktar immediately gravitated towards the basketball court, while Plink eyed the VR arena with suspicion. I decided to join Raktar first, figuring it was best to keep an eye on the giant lizard with anger management issues. "Do you play?" Raktar asked, tossing a basketball to me with surprising gentleness. "I dabble," I replied, catching the ball. "Let's make it interesting. First to 10 points wins. Loser has to listen to the winner's peace proposal." Raktar's eyes gleamed with excitement. "You're on, human." What followed was the most bizarre game of basketball I've ever experienced. Raktar was strong, fast, and relentless, but his size made him slow to pivot. I relied on my agility, darting around him and making quick shots. The game was neck and neck, with both of us scoring point after point. "Nice move," Raktar grunted as I dodged past him to make another basket. "Thanks," I panted. "You're not so bad yourself." Finally, it came down to the last point. I faked left, then right, and managed to slip past Raktar's defenses to score the winning basket. "Victory!" I shouted, raising my arms in triumph. Raktar laughed, a deep, rumbling sound that shook the floor. "Well played, human. Now let's hear your peace proposal." Maybe, just maybe, we were getting somewhere. Next, it was Plink's turn. He had been eyeing the VR arena with a mixture of curiosity and trepidation. I figured a virtual environment might be more his speed, given the Xentarian preference for strategy and intellect. "Care for a round in the VR arena?" I asked, trying to sound casual. Plink's many eyes blinked in unison. "What does it involve?" "Anything you want," I said, leading him into the chamber. "You can choose the scenario. Think of it as a way to demonstrate your strategic prowess." Plink seemed to like the sound of that. He selected a simulation of an ancient Xentarian battlefield. The landscape was a mix of towering crystalline structures and deep chasms filled with glowing energy. I was given a simple blaster, while Plink controlled an entire army of digital soldiers. "Ready?" I asked, gripping my blaster. Plink nodded, his eyes narrowing with determination. "Begin!" The battle was unlike anything I'd experienced. Plink's soldiers moved with precision, executing complex maneuvers and overwhelming my position. I had to rely on guerrilla tactics, taking out small squads and using the environment to my advantage. At one point, I found myself cornered, with Plink's army closing in. I activated a holographic decoy and slipped away, managing to take out his command center in a daring raid. "Impressive," Plink admitted as the simulation ended. "You have a knack for unconventional tactics." "Thanks," I said, wiping sweat from my brow. Now, how about we use those strategic skills to find a compromise? Plink considered this, his many eyes reflecting the simulated landscape. Perhaps we can. With both Raktar and Plink somewhat mollified, I suggested we head to the bar for a celebratory drink. The bartender, a burly Martian named Zog, greeted us with a grin and a selection of exotic beverages. "What's your poison?" Zog asked, lining up bottles of glowing liquids. "I'll take a synthale," I said, opting for something mild. "Raktar? Plink?" Raktar chose a drink that looked like molten lava, while Plink picked a delicate, shimmering elixir. We clinked glasses, the mood considerably lighter than before. "So," I said, taking a sip of my synthal, "let's talk territory. Surely there's a way for both of your peoples to coexist." Raktar took a long swig of his drink and nodded. "Perhaps a shared zone could work, a place where both our cultures can thrive." Plink blinked thoughtfully. "A neutral territory could be beneficial. We could exchange knowledge and resources." "Exactly," I said, feeling a surge of hope. "Think of what you could achieve together." We spent the next few hours hashing out the details, the alcohol loosening tongues and softening previously rigid stances. By the time we finished, we had a preliminary agreement that both sides seemed willing to consider. "To cooperation," I toasted, raising my glass, "and to not killing each other." Raktar and Plink laughed, clinking their glasses with mine. For the first time, it felt like peace was within reach. Just when I thought things were finally settling down, an alarm blared through the ship. The lights flickered and Zog dropped the glass he was polishing. "What now?" I groaned, rushing to the bridge with Raktar and Plink in tow. We arrived to find chaos. An unidentified ship had entered our sector, and it was broadcasting a distress signal. The ship was small, sleek, and clearly in trouble, with sparks flying from its hull. "Patch them through," I ordered, and the view screen flickered to life, revealing a panicked alien face. "Help us! Our ship's core is unstable and we need immediate assistance!" the alien pleaded, their voice trembling. I glanced at Raktar and Plink. This was an unexpected twist, but maybe it was also an opportunity. "Raktar, can your engineers help with their core?" I asked. Raktar nodded. "We have the technology. It will be a challenge, but we can manage." "Plink, can your people assist with stabilizing their systems?" Plink's eyes blinked rapidly. "Of course, our expertise in electronics will be invaluable." Together, we coordinated a rescue operation. Raktar's engineers worked tirelessly to stabilize the core, while Plink's technicians repaired the damaged systems. I oversaw the operation, feeling a strange mix of anxiety and excitement. It was a tense few hours, but finally the alien ship was back in working order. The grateful crew thanked us profusely, offering a treasure trove of knowledge and resources in return. "Well," I said, watching the alien ship depart, "looks like we make a pretty good team." Raktar and Plink exchanged a glance, and then Raktar clapped me on the back with a force that nearly knocked me over. "Indeed, Captain Carter," he rumbled. "Indeed." After the unexpected rescue, the atmosphere on the U.S.S. Serenity was markedly more positive. Raktar and Plink had seen firsthand the benefits of cooperation, and we quickly moved towards finalizing the peace treaty. The signing ceremony was set to take place in the main hall, with representatives from both the Glorthoks and the Xentarians present. I had donned my best uniform for the occasion, feeling a mix of pride and relief. "Are we ready?" I asked my first officer, Lieutenant Jane Harris, as we made our way to the hall. "Everything's set, Captain," she replied with a smile. "Let's make history." The hall was packed with delegates, all eyes on the central table where Raktar and Plink were seated. As I stepped up to the podium, I felt a hush fall over the room. "Today marks a new beginning," I began, looking out at the assembled crowd. "A beginning of peace, cooperation, and mutual respect. The Glorthoks and the Xentarians have shown us that even the deepest divides can be bridged with understanding and effort." I gestured to Raktar and Plink, who stood and approached the table. With a flourish, they each signed the treaty, sealing the agreement with a handshake that seemed to shake the very air around them. The room erupted in applause, and I couldn't help but smile. Against all odds, we had achieved the impossible. With the treaty signed and the delegates celebrating, I finally had a moment to breathe. I found a quiet corner of the ship and sat down, feeling the weight of the past few days lift off my shoulders. "Captain Carter," a voice said, and I looked up to see Raktar and Plink standing before me. "Raktar, Plink," I greeted them. "What can I do for you?" "We wanted to thank you," Plink said, his eyes blinking in unison. "Without your guidance, we never would have reached this agreement." Raktar nodded. "You have earned the respect of both our peoples, Captain. If you ever need our assistance, you only need to ask." I smiled, feeling a genuine sense of accomplishment. "Thank you. It was a team effort." As they left, I couldn't help but feel a surge of optimism. The galaxy was still a chaotic place, full of conflict and uncertainty, but moments like this gave me hope. Maybe, just maybe, we could make it a better place. "Captain," Lieutenant Harris called over the comm, "we have a new mission. Coordinates are coming through now." I stood, feeling the familiar thrill of adventure. "Set a course, Lieutenant. Let's see what the universe has in store for us next." And with that, we were off, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Because in the end, that's what being a captain is all about. Finding the humor in the chaos, the wit in the struggle, and the hope in the impossible.